Hi, thanks for joining us. I'm Todd Jurkowski.
I'm 6'5" tall. That's a big tree. Excuse the crude setup here. I just want to give you a demonstration to give you an understanding of how fast the water is rushing into these neighborhoods. Little tennis ball here. I'm just going to roll it under the truck, and it's going to come out here and watch it go. There it is. It's just moving and moving and moving.
People heading home for Mother's Day or maybe dressed up for a night on the town ended up stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic on a Saturday night.
It was like this at hospitals all over North and Central Florida, from here to Daytona, from Gainesville to Jacksonville. Senator McCain now has more Washington experience than all the other candidates combined, yet he still tells me he could be the agent for change. Can't make it out, but this shows that they actually slid this complaint into the night drop at the court after the court had closed yesterday. This morning they got their hearing, and about noon they got what they wanted.
Good evening, I'm Jacqueline London.
And I'm Todd Jurkowski, in for Bob Fryer. Detectives tell us that that car still smells like death. At the same time, the search for Kaylee continued today in the Little Econ River, one day after yesterday's huge false alarm. Divers then said they might have found some of Kaylee's remains. It turns out that just was not the case, and bounty hunter Leonard Padilla has come under fire for organizing the effort yet again. Mike DeForest is out at Blanchard Park, where, Mike, things were a lot quieter today.
That's right, the dive team, Mike DeForest, Local 6.
Mike, clarify something. Sheriff's detectives have said many times that they don't think Kaylee is in the Little Econ River, so why does Padilla keep focusing out there? It's a bit graphic, but Casey Anthony's car still smells like a decomposing body. At least that's what sheriff's deputies tell us. But despite that, a famous forensic expert inspected that car today. As you know, crime scene technicians have already processed Casey's car, but Casey Anthony's attorney wanted to have his own expert examine the evidence. Local 6's Lewis Bolden is at the Orange County Sheriff's Office. That's where Casey's car has been stored since it was towed back in July. Lewis, I saw you talk to them as they went in. Any idea exactly what they were looking for in the car? Not exactly sure what they found, but one thing we do know for sure is that Casey Anthony was quite a bit of a party girl.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's take a look at that one more time. That should be a screensaver or something. The launch pad all lit up with the shuttle. You know, if you be spontaneous, get in the car right now, listen to us on 87.7 and get out to the coast. This is one of the last times there will ever be a night launch, maybe the last time. And, of course, a Friday night launch is sure to bring larger crowds than normal. Adam Longo is at Space View Park, where people have been packing in since this morning. Now, Adam, can you even estimate how many people are out there right now? The shuttle is ready. The astronauts are almost strapped in completely. It looks like it's going to all come down to the weather on this one.
It does, Chief. We found people still waited 13 hours to get in.
And it was not just for the Swedish meatballs. As J.R. Stone found, nothing brings them out like free IKEA furniture. And there were hundreds of people in line who were disappointed they did not get a chair, but IKEA made good. They treated them to a free breakfast and a $10 gift certificate, which at IKEA can, buy a table and a chair. It's so cheap out there.
Well, there are other fields still hiring in these tough economic times.
Of course, teachers are always in high demand, especially up north. People working in computer technology, from troubleshooting to software design, are grabbing up a lot of jobs right now, and anyone focusing on alternative energy, people like factory workers and engineers. Also, you think about this, because of the danger and increased crime, security guards and police officers also have a pretty good chance of landing a job right now. If you're looking for a job, we've posted some helpful resources and job listings on our website. Go to local6.com, and up in the left-hand corner there, you see the hot button.
News at 11.
All right, David Pingelor joins us now. We got a lot to talk about. You got Florida State homecoming this weekend. You got the Gator game, and then, of course, there's big news out of NASCAR today.
Huge news, actually.
And let me talk about TVs. A shuttle launch does not convey. You've got an hour and a half. Get in the car and get out to the coast. You don't have many of these left. Seriously, it's something that everyone needs to do once before they die, in my personal opinion.
Wow, look at that opinion.
It is,
that bucket list, right?
It's phenomenal. It was on my list, and I've crossed it off.
And night launches especially.
Fantastic.
All right.
This small concrete building used to be a holding cell for all the hazardous waste from Orange County schools. Now these barrels are empty after a scathing report by the Florida Department of Environmental Protection.
This is the largest penalty assessment that we've had against Orange County Public Schools.
Back-to-back inspections last fall turned up 24 possible violations, and one allegation is striking. Listen to this: exhibiting reckless indifference or gross careless disregard for human health. It involved unknown waste chemicals from Winter Park High School transported unsafely in the back of Orange County Public School pickup trucks, all the way across Orange County, 16 miles to the district's facility off South John Young Parkway.
So when you start talking about transportation over the roads, if everything that could go wrong does go wrong, there's where you can see there could be a major potential for harm.
All the proposed fines add up to a whopping $446,000. Rick Harris is in charge of disposing hazardous materials for Orange County schools.
We believe we were operating properly. We're presenting the information to show that, and if in fact we aren't, we're going to comply with whatever the agency directs.
The facility off John Young spawned most of the allegations. For example, chemicals were not labeled as hazardous waste, and environmental protection officers accused one district employee of lying to them. They say the employee claimed the chemicals in the storage facility had been properly labeled after the first inspection, when in fact they were not.
That particular information we're looking at right now is part of a district investigation.
After environmental protection officers notified the district about the allegations, school officials went to work, training teachers, janitors, and anyone else who may come in contact with the hazardous materials.
With a high degree of confidence, we can say our schools are safe and the children are safe, more importantly.
But the school district may have a lot less money if all the allegations prove true.
We don't know the answer to that because the property owner hung up on us when we called for a comment. These eviction notices did come on Saturday. It gives them 7 days to get out, and it actually has people here stunned. You know, you take a look around. This is a very small representation. This is a very run-down, very dirty park. You're fortunate that smell cannot be conveyed on television because it stinks around here. But people here are upset because as bad as conditions are here, this is still home.
Oh, that's the water.
And that's just one of countless problems here. But this is not about derelict houses. It's about struggling families. You can hear it in their voices.
And I try to put my daughter and raise her like I'm supposed to. And I can't raise her like I'm supposed to when I'm getting headache after headache trying to have a foundation for my home.
About 60 families will need to find a new home if this eviction notice gets enforced. The owner of the Palomar Mobile Home Park in Orlando ordered everyone out in 7 days.
It's a threat and it's retaliation. It's because, you know, we brought unwanted attention on them.
Last week, people at Palomar sounded off to Local 6 about the disgusting conditions at the park. The worst of it being raw sewage backing up into some people's homes.
All that funk was coming out that sewer. So all that funk hitting us.
Then came the threat of no more water. The property owner owes OUC tens of thousands in past due payments.
If a problem would have happened out there in Metro West or Dr. Phillips like this, the city would have had that fixed, that problem solved.
OUC did promise to leave the water on, but there may soon not be anyone here to use it.
The owner of the property is a company by the name of Palms Mobile Home Parks. They're based in Largo. That's over near Clearwater. Again, we called several times. We spoke to people, left messages for someone by the name of Chris Amendola. He was the one that hung up on us, and we did not get a single comment from them today. She actually read what Debbie Casso wrote. These are the documents here, and she said, "This is my story." Fortunately, she made it out alive. There are many others out there like her. But now we want to tell you the latest victim of domestic violence's story in her own words.
The threats are disturbing. If I called police, he would cut off my head before police arrived. Debbie Casso's own words to a judge. Now she's dead, stabbed to death while working at the Denny's on International Drive. Deputies tell us her husband, Alejandro Casso, attacked her. We showed the court documents to Dolores Moore, a survivor of domestic violence.
For me, it took that thought of dying that I was graced to be here.
The women from Project Clothesline also survived. The T-shirts give abused women the chance to express their pain through art. This was Debbie Casso's canvas, an application for a restraining order. "He threatened to cut my throat when he gets out of jail," she wrote in 2004. Again, speaking of her husband. A judge ordered Alejandro to counseling and granted the injunction. But a few months later, April of 2005, Debbie asked the judge to dissolve it. "I want to give my husband a second chance to work things out for our children," she said. Dolores says there does not have to be a second chance.
Sometimes it's not all about, giving how many times it's going to happen. It's like when that person gets sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Deputies tell us just 3 weeks ago, Debbie did not show up in court to get another restraining order after yet another threat.
It's very important when this process begins to try to see it through to the end.
If not, the outcome may be deadly.
And it's important to point out that Alejandro Casso remains on the run. The director of the Harbor House Domestic Violence Shelter told me both the number of people murdered in domestic violence cases and the number of people applying for restraining orders is way up this year in Orange County. and she expected to get a lot worse in the fall with school starting and the holidays approaching. Before the plane arrived, we were inside and people saw our camera and asked what was going on. So I told them the story you're about to hear, and some of those people got chills. Perhaps you'll experience the very same thing. Ginny Moore never expected the day to come, but she's ready for it, flowers in hand.
I told him to watch for the lady that's going to be in the purple dress, the long purple dress.
She's going to meet this man, Lorenzo, who she only knows from pictures. But it's what Lorenzo has that makes Ginny nervous.
My insides are quivering and I don't want to cry. So I'm going to try not to.
Flashback to 1944. Ginny was married to Marcus Comer. Before he went off to fight in the Battle of the Bulge, Ginny had a bracelet made with Marcus's name, ID number, and on the back a simple message: "Love, Ginny." Less than a year later, she received a telegram from the War Department. Marcus was killed in Belgium. Then 58 years later, Lorenzo was digging in an old foxhole there when his metal detector went off. It was Ginny's bracelet.
Oh, my
God. Ginny wept. She trembled.
There's the bracelet.
When she looked down, though, she didn't just see a bracelet. She saw her husband.
Here's your son. Look at your son. Just like you.
We asked Lorenzo what prompted a man to fly 10 hours on a plane just to return something that belongs to the aging widow of a dead American soldier.
He did so much for us 60 years ago, and many young people still don't forget it.
Ginny will now be able to remember Marcus by just looking down at her heart.
He was my heartthrob all through school, all through high school, and all the girls envied me. They all wanted to go with him, but I had him. He was mine.
And you'll always have him.
Then it was Lorenzo's turn to get a gift. He and his wife took their first ride in a limo. Just a small thanks from Ginny for reuniting her with her first love. Ginny will get to keep the bracelet until she passes on, but she's already made an amendment to her will that when she does die, the bracelet will go back to Lorenzo. And by that time, he hopes to have a museum built in Belgium that will pay tribute to U.S. soldiers killed during World War II.